not sure how much of that. Some of them, yeah. Some of them, you're right. Some of them don't have that. Well, that's then. Well, in that situation, you've got to make a decision, haven't you, about whether you think they're safe to be in society or not. I don't know. I think it would depend on whether they would know.
So I keep saying I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an easy answer. I don't know.
Okay, so
if you don't know,
so at the very extreme of what I would do is I would house people in semi-secure accommodation. So where it's a reasonable level of accommodation. I don't think hotels are the best thing.
Jobs? Where they get the jobs from?
Well.
Are you on about anything like a immigration centre?
Yeah, but I'm not sure I'd want to go like a prison, but I would want it to be a.
Yeah, but don't you think that the left throw the rhetoric around that it'd be like a concentration camp?
Yeah, I don't agree with people coming and shouting at you guys that you're Nazis and you're scum and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not supporting that.
Right, so another point of immigration, and one question I want to ask you. Forget all of the economics, but what about a large majority of the British public have just had enough? They don't want mass people flooding into the country anymore. We don't want mass foreigners anymore. We've got enough diversity in people that come here over the years. A lot of people just want it to stop on many different reasons. Economic, cultural, and just to think there's that natural instinct kicking in now. As human beings, because we've had it peaceful here for 70, 80 years, we are violent in nature when we get pushed and pressed. It happens all over the world. It's happened in this country 1,000 years ago. Right? I think, do you not think the instinctual side of tribalism starting to kick in with humans now, and the tensions are rising because you are flooding too many people in too fast, and it's causing that tension. So, what do we do with that?
Yeah, so I believe that if the vast majority, I believe if the vast majority of the British public say we don't want immigration, we live in hopefully a democracy.
Not immigration, we don't want.
Mass immigration, illegal immigration for me. This is the cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah, you still need to look in that.
And there's security risks.
Because there are vast more people coming in legally.
The numbers are way too high in my opinion.
So I'm not saying, like, if everybody says no, we don't want this, and it's voted in, then that's fine, because that's the vote of the people. I'm not going against what the people say. It's maybe not what I would view, but that's democracy, and that's how it works, isn't it? So, but I think my concern is, and so partly why I'm here is because I hear a lot of people saying that we're a Christian country. That's great. I'm a Christian, obviously.
Well, but since the father of England tried to start England, King Alfred the Great, this country has been built on Christian values.
Absolutely.
And if you look at Europe, which is now one of all of the mainly white Christian Western nations, what their founding key is Christianity.
Absolutely. So I agree. I agree. We were founded on Christian values.
Not exactly. Not even necessarily people being completely towards the God. A lot of people when we were kids would go in church. My parents, they thought a lot of the God stuff was nonsense, but they'd go there for the community side. That side of the Christianity is where I think
and most of UK
lost that.
Most of UK laws are based on Christian values and Christian laws. My beef is, if we say we're a Christian country, okay, and so I believe that the Bible says that we look after the stranger, and the Bible does refer to them as foreigners and aliens when you go through the Old Testament. So I believe if people get here, we look after them. I'm not saying it's right that they're here. I'm not saying it's wrong that they're here.
Yeah, no. So for me and a lot of people think of this like a hate thing, and I think that's where they get it wrong. It's not a racism or a hate thing. It's just a look. We've done enough already now. Stop, slow down. I think that's the key thing.
So that's not these guys' fault. They're coming. That's what. They're coming. But okay, some of the guys that I've met in there, and I know from there, have been tortured, have been arrested in their countries and stuff like that. And so that's why they've come across. And I would say to you, now, we can argue whether... No, I'm fine, thank you. More important stuff first. So if they've come... So I would just say to you, if that was you, would you do what they've done? Would you escape?
I'd escape, yeah. But at the same time, again, where is it as we? Because I feel like we've got a lot of people in over the years. We've been very kind. As people, we've got a lot in our pocket. We've tried to do so many great things. And now I think it's just time, because too much is coming, that's what it is for a lot of people.
Yeah. Again, if the vast majority of the people in the UK vote for that and want that, then that was what we're hoping. I think you've got a bigger problem with the government not listening.
And another aspect for that for me is, because the migration numbers are so high, what we traditionally would call refugees that our grandfathers fought for World War II to protect, in what you're saying, a lot of them are probably getting overlooked now because a lot of the economic migrants and the legal migrant numbers are higher, and we should be giving them more support, but it's sort of like they're mixed with like we've had enough now. Whereas if the numbers were lower, the actual genuine refugees might actually get more support of the people.
Can I just jump in here? I'm a campaigner for protecting children against all races, all colours, and children and women. You can't guarantee who these people are because they're in documentaries. We've got enough. You're a man of the church. The church has got a lot of answer for paedophiles within the church.
Of course,
They've kept extremely quiet. Now, that being said, so the RSPCA has kept quiet about halal and kosher slaughter. That to me is sacrifice. That's a religious sacrifice. These people are coming in, we don't know them. Right? Possibly some of them are great people, possibly some of them are not.
Absolutely,
What it is, it's risk elimination for our children and our women. It's risk elimination. They've got enough to contend with. You get these activists normally, the schools in my area, where one school in particular, in Wodensfield, right, they're inviting the asylum seekers in. It's not asylum seekers. Number one, they're not asylum seekers. They are criminals.
Right.
Because they're invading the country. Everyone misses that fact. They're inviting these people in.
Oh, no, we just before you got here when we were saying,
I'm sorry.
Yes, they are illegal, but there were reasons for that.
I don't care what the reasons are, there's proper channels to go through.
Not for applying for asylum from Iran, Iraq, and places like that. Up until the France deal a couple of weeks ago, you could not apply for asylum outside of the UK. You couldn't get a visa to come into the UK to apply for asylum.
Agreed. So when they step foot in France, they are then criminals as well. Why don't the French arrest them instead of bringing them over here? It's about risk elimination to our children. If you're invited in my house, right, I don't know you are, so I'm with you all the time. I've got young kids with me, right? We can't get near these people. We can't get near them. Right?
Well, I tried to interview them and they hide them away, and I have had a couple of interviews where if I say anything, I felt like it really gave their side positive on their side more, because it does humanise them a little bit. They hide them away. The government have done a very poor job on that side of it.
So what you said, what you said about it's not their fault. If somebody offered me a country where I could get everything for nothing, no documentation, I would jump at it. I can't blame them. It's the government are doing this. They're doing this to divide the country. That's what they're doing. Now, people say, oh, it's an army. Right, a young army fighting age man. Is it? Or is it a replacement workforce? That's an interesting point. Is it a replacement workforce? Because what I think they'll do is get them in, we'll all lose our jobs, and they'll scrap the minimum wage so they work for nothing. What sort of life is that? It's a point which is interesting, right? But it isn't their fault. I'd go to a better country. It's a government allowing it to happen.
That's where we agree. I don't think your beef here. I understand what you're saying about you wanting to protect people and stuff like that, but I don't think. I truly think that your beef is with the government, not with these guys.
Yeah, but what this is, with respect, I'm an Anglican. Okay. And I used to be a Methodist. Never again will I be a Methodist because certain things. Anyway, they're letting them in. Right, all we're doing here is symbolic. What we're saying to the government is, we've got your number. But the problem is, these people who organise WF and the rest of it, they're very clever people. When you think you've got them, you haven't. They've moved there. That's the problem. Now we've got to find some sort of middle ground and stand united as a people to say, we know what you're doing. They call us Nazis. They don't even know the meaning of the word. Nazi is National Socialism.
See, I don't agree with. Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with them. With that abuse.
What we are.
Just labelling, you know. Labels. Racism do hit pieces on people like me, and the danger that could put me in is actually They know what they're doing as well.
I don't agree with them shouting you're Nazis or whatever else, or and that like never trust a lefty with your kids and all that rubbish. That's just
True that.
I know, not that.
He's got a point.
Yeah,
I know, he's got a point. Because, trust me, education, I've been in the middle of it, right? The colleges, the schools are infiltrated by, as I said, the left, trans people, their ideology has been put onto our kids. And with respect, don't question money, right, Paul? I know it inside out. I was married to a teacher for 30 years, right? She got done for blackmail with menaces and pervert the course of justice, went to prison. When she came out of prison, they gave her a job back in the school. Is that right?
On what you
Is that morally right?
No.
Right? So when I was sorting all this for the City of Sanctuary, the biggest corrupt organisation, the CEO is on 350k a year. And it's supposed to be a charity. All the councils, I think it was 1,200 councils out the country got it. The kids are sending welcome letters, love letters, and when it comes up the time, Valentine's letters to the illegals.
Oh yeah, I saw that online. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, well, I'm blowing that out of the water because it's true. When that school in Wensfield actually invited these asylum seekers in to meet the children, and they don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility as a grandfather, father and a grandfather, to protect the next generation. The Russians did in Afghanistan, they killed all the children. And when they was asked why, one particular Russian soldier, he says, when the next lot come along, he says, you won't have to fight them, they won't be there. They're trying to indoctrinate our kids so they ain't got this again. That's what they're trying to do. They haven't got this again. I know it. I was in the school system up to here, and I saw it all go on. Wolverhampton College, and I don't care if it goes all over the net. I've been studying them since 2005. I broke my marriage, right? And they had an international apartment where they brought the students in from overseas. Very, very good money maker. They stopped it dead. And I wondered why. So I spoke to my friend, who was a lecturer there, and he said to me, the truth is, Gary, 3 Pakistani vice principals were caught bringing the women that was coming in, the young women, using them for sex parties, and they stopped it before he got out. That's the truth. I've got documentation in my house now. Right? This is the education system. The education system broke. It ain't broke. It's knackered, and it wants completely as many organisations do, stripping down to the floor and building up. It makes my blood boil. Right? If I see a kid being assaulted by anybody, black, white or pink, I'll go to prison. I'll kill him. End of story. Sorry guys. Sorry. Thank you. Oh, sorry. I'm going to stick your hand. Thank you very much, sir.
So obviously you spend a lot of time with these migrants, like you said. Sometimes, yes, it fluctuates to who's in there and whatever. So what's your opinion of them then? The ones that I have met, and that's a very small percentage, appear to be genuine guys to us. They want to engage, they want to work. They understand that for some of them, I've had it said to me that the guys that are coming in there don't understand the culture, and that's part of the problem. So, and that maybe steps need to be taken to help the people coming in to understand the culture before things blow up. And yeah, so that was one of the guys that's got asylum from in there and has now moved away. He said that to me. He said that he's from Iran. Part of his concern was that some of the guys coming in didn't understand the culture, but it was never explained to them either, or he didn't see it being explained to them. So that doesn't excuse some behaviour, but of course, it adds some context to it. So the guys that I've met in there have all seemed to be genuine. Now, look, I know that there are people that are going to fake coming to Christ and things like that for what they think will benefit them. Yeah, and so I understand that, but my job as a minister is that I take people on face value, and then I see what happens in their life afterwards. So, and all the guys that I've seen who said they're Christian in there have come in and have got asylum in the UK are still going to church. So to me, that says they're genuine, because they didn't have to. As soon as they got asylum, they could have just ripped it and gone, couldn't they? So that's mine. But by no means, and I want to be really clear, by no means. It's a small percentage that I interact with.
Being Christian compared to potentially other religions can have an impact on how easy it is for them to integrate.
Sorry, I didn't.
Reckon that the religion choice can have an impact on the time it takes them to integrate. You know, because we talked about Christian values before.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, maybe. I haven't really thought about it. A lot of the reason, a lot of the guys that I speak to in there are here is because they are Christian in the countries that they've been in, and they've been persecuted, arrested.
And yeah, like you said, you have to take them on face value and believe in what they're saying. But you know, as a public people, you know, and the things that you see online where they're going around doing things to children and harassing children, climbing onto school cars.
A lot of them are little shits, though.
We can't stand back and take people on face value.
No,
you know, that's the issue.
So there needs. I agree. There needs to be safety things put in place. What I would say is, and because like about 2, maybe 3 years ago, they were protesting Canada before, mainly in the town centre. That time, there were a couple of really big demonstrations. They were infiltrated by some real far right guys as well, which is why I think they stopped them. But there was a lot saying that a lot of the immigrants then were following people, following kids and stuff like that. And when the police were asked, they were saying, well, no, we're not getting the reports. So my plea would be, as a local minister, is that if that is happening, then it gets reported to the police. And I know that maybe people don't have faith in the police, that they're going to do something, but that's the only you need that evidence to then say, because if you come at if somebody comes to me and says something anonymously, i.e. they come and say something for somebody else, I don't act upon that because I don't know who said it.
Yeah, but I've given them evidence of crimes recently where I've been punched in the face in Birmingham, etc. They still haven't got the geezer.
No, I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's right, but you've got to do it.
So how do we distinguish the bad from the good? How's that process going to work?
I think I know I've been challenged about saying I don't know.
That's the gamble we're having to take.
But
And then do we have to have collateral damage with it?
Well, I think there's got to be a way. A lot of these guys, I think, are known. Maybe have their fingerprints taken in other countries, and that we've got access to some of that information.
Do you think? Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you think all this with them coming in, the migrants, and we know the government? It's a plan, right? Either to replace us or replacement army, send our kids overseas, support in Ukraine, them take over. That's one idea. The other idea is what I think, it's replacement workforce. But do you think, that these immigrants coming in have actually done us a good turn? Because what they've done is they've blown the lid off the paedophilia that's been going on in this country for years. This is raising to the top now. And instead of people hiding it years ago, like I was in a meeting the other day, and I actually said, what I would do is, if a paedophile of long standing in this country, white, whatever, if they're white, we deal with them. We haven't got to import them, right? And I said, if they are of foreign origin, deport them to the country of origin, stop the aid if they won't take them, stop the aid, say we never know more aid to take them back. If ours do it over there, we'll have them back and we'll punish them. I also said, send the family home with them, because they're all complicit, they're covering up. Seize their assets, businesses, houses, whatever, sell them and make a special fund for the rape victims, because they have got a life sentence with that rape.
So whilst I'm not going to say whether I agree or disagree with your view on seizing people's assets, but would you do that if it was a white person doing it as well? So you do it as long as that's fair.
I would do it any colour, any race, any denomination, any sex as well. Okay. Because there's women paedophiles as well. Yeah. I would do it a lot. They would have nothing. I don't care where they go, what they do, but we've got to keep in this country. Yeah. So they'll live poorly. Because there's some of these sick dogs. I'll give you an example. Church ministers who've got a nice house and the rest of it. Councillors, MPs, they're all involved. The House of Lords. Take it all off them, put them on the street, like a lot of our veterans have to be in the street, and see what happens. Right? Set a special fund up, not a quango where somebody's on 200 million a year. Set a fund up for those poor victims that's been raped. Not just for this quango counselling, quango this.
I honestly don't think, like, dealing with the paedophilia and the rape, I don't think you'd find anybody. I think even what maybe you guys would call the far left, I don't think they would disagree with you on dealing with it.
I agree entirely. So why don't they just come and talk to us? I've tried to do this. I've tried to speak to them. I'm speaking to you now, right? I'm not aggressive to you. I'm just trying to bring a point out to you. And if you've got a point contrary to what I believe, then fair enough. That's what debate. That's what democracy is all about.
And as I say, I'm not. As I say, my view is because I believe my Christian faith guides how I live my life. Obviously, as you would hope as a minister, and so. For me, that says, regardless of how anybody's got into the country, that whilst they're here, we at least provide the basic level of looking after.
You're saying basic?
No disrespect, right? But you're saying that they need to be looked after. What about the British people?
I agree as well.
They can't even afford to put food on their table. So,
I'm not saying.
we're going to work. Right, we're working our arse off, right, every day to try and put food on the table to look after our children that physically is not safe. My kids can't go out on the park.
Okay.
Do you know why? Because even the other week, you had a group of them that is attending the park and speaking to young children. What about stranger danger? My kids have always been taught. They have. They shouldn't be. But then you get told by the police, it's free. It's free. They can roam wherever they want. Is it? Is it free for them to roam wherever they want?
And obviously,
like you've just said, we have to take it on our looks of them. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry,
how we look and what we think. We've not what anyone said. We don't know nothing about them.
No, you don't.
Nothing about them.
What I'm saying.
Take them for face
Can I
value.
just say one thing, Olive? What worries me about the church, all churches, is in the Bible it says, whenever you're with adversity, turn the other cheek. How much longer do they expect to turn the other cheek? We can't keep turning the other cheek.
So what I was saying.
Schools into sanctuaries. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, really?
If that's not inciting them to do things.
Really, I will not. I will pull my kids out before that happens. I tell you that now. I will.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch why you were about the school bit there. Sorry.
The kids, I will not have my kids go to the school of sanctuary. I won't. Do you
What's the school of sanctuary? I don't.
What exactly? You don't know.
No, I don't. So I'm asking.
People should. They're slipped it in. I'm a campaigner, as these people know, against the school of sanctuary. I'll just explain. CEO's on 350k a year.
So what does the school of sanctuary do? Sorry, I didn't catch.
What upset me in the first place was the city of sanctuary is part of them. What they do is they open the gates that anybody coming to our town, my town, or whatever they are. That was really enough. But when they started putting it into the schools for them to write to the asylum seekers.
Oh, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
And the reason you don't know, the police don't know. A lot of because they've got to be really gentle, clever people. They're not idiots. Don't ever think they're idiots.
They're coming from. What's it called now? I'm trying to think. Dave, what it's called.